people continue to cross over illegally as they have for, what, 100 years, 200 years?
So it's the same.
I think that one of the funny things that has happened is that for months, I'm sorry, I think we're talking over each other.
No, I'm saying that's dishonest. You're just like, you're saying don't trust the Republicans on their messaging.
Woke liberal idiot David Pakman just gets completely obliterated on the Megyn Kelly show. Her and her guests just tear him apart and basically call out all of his BS. It's a good one, guys. It gets crazy. David Pakman's like one of the worst people ever. So it's a good one. Make sure you like today's video. Subscribe to the channel. I post new videos every single day, sometimes twice a day. And we'll get right into the drama.
Incredible desperation. And I have to say, Hogan, this is not a personal attack in any way. You seem like a really nice guy. We don't know each other. There's almost an affirmative action with these Trump folks where if these were football coaches that had lost everything for a decade, they wouldn't, Kayleigh McEnany wouldn't be on Fox News. We wouldn't be going to Hogan and saying, give us your state. They've lost everything. And somehow, through some kind of affirmative action, I guess we still hear from them. But they're desperate, Megyn, because this has gone sideways for a decade.
Wait, what are you suggesting, David? That because the Republicans have had a rough couple of electoral cycles, everyone who is on Team Trump should just go underground? They shouldn't speak anymore,
No,
even though he's
going
to be the Republican nominee?
No, I'm glad to hear from Hogan, but there's a degree to which we would say, wait a second, how could his analysis, or it's not about Hogan, how could any of these analyses really accurately reflect reality when these are the analyses that lost them everything in what, 4 or 5 elections in a row? I would approach it with caution.
Go ahead, Hogan. What do you think of that?
Yeah. Okay. Let's unpack that. By that rationale, I guess we should never hear from Hillary Clinton again either, because she lost. Any Democrat who loses an election, you can't hear from them. Anybody who worked in a White House, worked in administration, shouldn't have a say-so in what's going on in this country. Of course, this is a battle between those who love America and those who hate America, because the positions of both parties they've been clearly articulated now for a long time. And so I think moving into 2024, as we kind of reset, and now we've lived under the failed policies of Joe Biden for the last 4 years, where Americans have been kicked in the teeth. They can't afford gas and groceries. Crimes are spiking all over their communities. Wars are breaking out all over the world. The southern borders bringing in, fentanyl, killing our American citizens, human trafficking, child smuggling. It's all up. I think the stark reality of the fact that we've got an upcoming election where these two men uniquely have a record, not as a governor saying, if you elect me, I promise I'll do this. I'm a senator. I did this for my state. Both of these folks were president. The records are stark. And the juxtaposition where we used to have to point back to Reagan, Megyn, you just played an incredible speech. Remember how good it was in the 80s? We can say we had record-setting success in record-setting time 3 years ago. It took one guy and his demented policies to tear us down this quickly. So this election, no question, is going to be significant for the future of America. But to say someone who lost an election or wasn't part of the winning team shouldn't have a say-so is so insane.
Go ahead, David.
Yeah, what does David have to say to that? Seriously, I mean, just hearing Joe Hogan, I think that's his name, just list off everything that's gotten so much worse under President Biden. It's like, how do people want to continuously vote Democrat? I don't get it. And like Kamala Harris is running on a campaign of change. Like, that's how bad Joe Biden's administration was that his vice president who's taking his spot has to literally run on change, which I don't know how the bitch gets away with it. Clearly it's not a change. She's from the same administration. So the world is utterly mad, guys. Okay. You see how I'm getting I'm feeling like Cenk. If you guys saw my video a couple days ago about Cenk having a meltdown, I feel like I'm going crazy, going a little nuts, trying to rationalize what the F is going on in this country. Come on.
I know. Of course, I'm not saying they shouldn't have a say-so. What I'm saying is at this point, it seems clear the American people see through it. And the people who lost 5 elections in a row are not the ones I'd be listening to on policy. Now, with regard to a lot of the stuff that Hogan mentioned there, we can go but one by one or not. I mean, just to pick a couple of things, because there was a lot there. On inflation, I mean, listen, groceries and gas, they were even cheaper under Obama. they were even cheaper under Bush and cheaper under Clinton. I mean, yes, there is inflation. We have not had a
But it's way crazier now, David Pakman. The inflation has gone up exponentially. Come on.
Inflationary spiral, but inflation's at about 3% right now, which is what every serious economist says is the target. With regard to the record right now, unemployment, I mean, it's almost silly for me to do this because the American people know, but we've never had unemployment below 4%. We've never had unemployment below 4% for this long in 50 years, and it remains there. Wage growth has outpaced inflation. GDP is a completely normal and healthy 3%. You know, it's like people know this.
Why don't you try immigration? Because that's in the news today, David. Take that one up.
Well, I mean, ask me a question about it. What's
Yeah, David, take it away.
Are we doing better under Joe Biden when it comes to illegal immigration than we were under Trump?
How do you define better?
I just love how Megyn Kelly just calls this woke, lunatic, liberal, gay guy out. Like, good. Answer this question. How is immigration? How's that going, buddy?
Fewer.
People continue to cross over illegally as they have for, 100 years, 200 years?
So it's the same.
I think that one of the funny things that has happened is that for months, I'm sorry, I think we're talking over each other.
No, I'm saying that's dishonest. You're saying don't trust the Republicans on their messaging, and you come on here and want to tell me that it's the same. Like they're just continuing.
No,
there's been no increase.
There have been periods of
a couple of months ago we had 10,000 a day crossing the southern border. Go ahead.
Yeah.
And that's just what's counted. Imagine how many cross the southern border completely unaccounted for.
Yeah,
sorry, I think we're all talking over each other.
Now, you know,
go ahead, David.
Oh, really? You guys are all talking over each other. What a convenient way to get out of giving a valid rebuttal, because you can't, David Pakman.
Wait, Hogan, I'll bring you in, but let me defend that. Go ahead, David.
Oh, okay. No, listen, I mean...
And she presses him. She doesn't let him get away from it.
Based on the Border Patrol statistics, there have been times during the Biden administration where crossings have on average been below where they were under Trump. At some points, they were above that. The funniest part to me about immigration is that now that Republicans themselves torpedoed the bill they wanted because Trump said, no, I need something to run on, I need something to do, Biden puts in place this limitation, which, by the way, doesn't solve the reason people are trying to come here. We need more immigration judges. I'm glad Biden made this point. Now that he did it, they're still not happy. And they're saying, well, it's only for political reasons. Why do you think Trump wanted to do this? It's also for political reasons. So this seems like a political game to me, when the reality, Megyn, is we never permanently deal with DACA. We never permanently deal with the reasons people even want to come over here in the first place. It's a lame political football.
Wow. Okay, go ahead. It's fascinating to me for me here. I have to say, David, I appreciate you coming on the show, because we don't get a lot of progressives, and they know I don't really agree with them on most things.
I don't know why not.
Yeah, it's like, shout out David Pakman. You're so brave to showcase your, I can't say the word that I want to say, but to showcase his insanity to a correct audience. Love that. You're so brave. It's like when whores are naked and they're like, oh, other girls will be like, oh, you're so brave. Or like, you're fat and you wear a crop top. Oh, you're so brave. It's like, no, you should actually be ashamed of how slutty, or in his case, stupid you are.
Actually, really, I appreciate you being here and saying, you know, the way you see these things and the way the left views these things, because it's actually educational.
Well, I don't know about the left, but listen, I'm on the left. Countries have a right to enforce immigration policy. If you're here illegally, of course, you're subject to deportation. I mean, I think that there's a caricaturizing that happens of the left on this issue. I'm an immigrant from Argentina. We came here legally. I'm now an American citizen. People still write to me and say, you should go back to Argentina. But listen, I don't want the left characterized as something that it isn't on this issue. You'll never hear me say a country doesn't have a right to enforce
dead to rights.
policy.
Otherwise, we'd have different policy. I mean, Hogan, you work for the Trump administration. The first thing that Joe Biden did when he took over was to reverse the three principal things that Trump was doing to stop the flow of illegal migrants across the southern border: the Remain in Mexico program, the asylum seekers en masse, and the construction of the border wall. He shut it all down. He sold off all the parts. You couldn't even try to rebuild the wall thanks to what he did. Yeah, there was. Yeah. Go ahead, Hogan.
All right.
I'm going to cut it off there, because as you can clearly see, David Pakman is a liar. He doesn't know the facts, and he's called out on it. And I wonder, you know, if I had to guess, I think the chances are David Pakman doesn't return on Megyn Kelly's show unless he's that desperate. Anyways, thanks again so much for watching today's video, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.